Simon Webb, and I'm delighted to say Tony Holgate joins me this morning. Tony, and day 4 has been good fun this tournament, but we've got lots still to come.
You lie so well.
I do.
Good morning.
I'm a commentator.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. And this is an interesting match. I suddenly looked at this morning and thought, are these the two losing semi-finalists from Event 7?
Yes, they are.
So both have gone deep in the previous event.
And Scott Gillespie, of course, was the European Open champion. So for the last 2 events, he is winner and semi-finalist. He's certainly riding some brilliant form. And Chaos Cole Bedford is, well, he's just one of the most entertaining players to watch. You can argue for all the wrong reasons, potentially, and I'd say that to him. He kind of is chaotic out there, hence the name, but he is such a likeable character, but a joy to watch as well.
Yes, he's great fun, and like you say, one of the most animated players, if not the most animated player.
I think he is. He has to be
in the pro game.
Let's give him that award. But actually, he's been chatting to him quite a bit this week, obviously, because he had that run to the semi-finals, and I think he's really proud of the way he played. Not just, obviously, he's won many games before, but I think he's happy with the way he's playing, the way he's seeing his patterns, and the way he's going about his business. I think he's really proud of that.
Yes, I remember in this semi-final, I mean, the way he beat Ronan McCarthy in the previous match was absolutely brilliant. I mean, he's taking out finishes from everywhere.
And he was asked to take out a crate. Ronan said, here you go, you take out this finish. And it was horrible. And Ronan was happy all the way through for him to take it on, but he got there. And that's what you get with Cole Bedford. He has the X factor, doesn't he? He can take out finishes from anywhere. But he's identified what he needs to improve is his pattern play and simplify the game to be able to be more consistent.
I think in the semi-final, his break deserted him a little. He had 2 or 3 dry breaks, which, eventually cost him. And he obviously lost to, it was Mark Fleming. Mark Fleming from Scotland, who was actually flying himself, and he couldn't miss a ball in that semi-final. It's just unbelievable. And then, ironically, he gets to the final, and his break sort of deserts him, and then he starts missing a few.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it was Craig Waddingham who went on to capture the title.
Yeah. Amazing how it can go.
Yeah, if it's your day, it's your day.
And it's so hard to back things up. Craig Waddingham already eliminated. Mark Fleming eliminated at the first round. See, our 2 semi-finalists, or losing semi-finalists here, Scott Gillespie and Cole Bedford, are still batting, but one of them's going out here at the last 16 stage.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how it happens when you see, playing great form. It wins the very first event and then trips over very early in the next event. It's just even the great Tom Cousins. It's happened to him where it looks like when he wins the first event, you think he's unbeatable this weekend, and then the next morning, does it come down to a bit of fatigue or?
I think natural. I mean, it's just hard to win matches consistently against the best players in the world because it's so volatile. There are times when you don't get. You're not going to get a fair crack at it, and you might be limited to your chances.
I think another factor as well, Simon, is if you've just won the first event of the weekend, I mean, you're elated, and you think, well, what? I can't better it. I can only win the other event, and I think there's an acceptance there. Well, I've had a good weekend, sort of thing. And
yeah, I think it's probably
maybe goes.
We should say that Tom Cousins has done that, though. He has won both events in a weekend, which is a special achievement.
Greedy is what I call
Greedy. Shane Thompson in year 1 as well. Shane Thompson really having a poor run of form at the moment, really struggling.
Yeah, saw him last night. Yesterday evening. He's fits and starts with him. He looks so great to start with, and then all of a sudden, inexplicably missed a long ball into the bottom right-hand corner, following up missing a similar pot the next frame into the same pocket, and then he sort of just all went wrong for him. And
the former number 1 player is, unless something happens in the last weekend of the year or the tournaments in between, there are very few tournaments left now. We'll be outside the top 32.
Really?
Going into next season. I mean,
he's
fallen
you
that
say
far.
16 then?
No, he's going to be, unless something happens, he could be down somewhere near the 40s.
Good grief. And you would never said that, would you? It
was flying so high. 4 Pro Series titles for Shane. Second only to Tom Cousins.
But then it does go to show the strength in the pro game. The youngsters coming through, you Luke Gilberts and players of that ilk. Every year there's new pros. We've got Sean Sharkey in there now. A great player. And Scott Gillespie coming back to somewhere near where he was a few years ago.
Little bit short this time though. Play comes down for the double. Wanted to get somewhere nearer level. The 8 ball. Going corner now, you expect, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But it must be hard. I mean, when you're at the top, you can have blips, but then when it's a prolonged time of not winning anything or not getting anywhere near, then it starts to become a lot more psychological as well. You start doubting everything you do.
Yeah, and it really showed with Scott Gillespie. I mean, really was nowhere. Even though he was still having results, it was not like he fell down. We're not talking about he didn't fall down as far as we're talking Shane in the 40s. He was always in and around the 16. It's just it wasn't the player that was relentless pre-COVID.
That's a bit short there from Cole.
Well, both players just a little bit struggling to get the grips with the table right now in the opening frame.
Not enough Weetabix for breakfast.
Both these players were pretty happy to be told they were playing in the TV game because it meant they got an extra hour in bed. Well, maybe they're a little bit sleepy starting here. And Cole Bedford takes the opening frame. Good 7 minutes used up for that one. Both players having chances. Cole getting 2 of them and needing 2 of them, but he puts it away all the same. Unique cue action for Cole. Comes across it quite a bit. And then our section of the draw, Cole Bedford 1-0 up on Scott Gillespie, as you can clearly see there. As we see a non-golden break, 8 ball flying in. Is anything else in?
Yep.
So Scott will stay at the table. And the winner of this will play, we just saw Aaron Davies on screen. He's playing Stevie Dempsey, the number 2 seed. And the winner of this will play the winner of that one. They're at 4-4 in their one. So that is the situation as it stands right now. And as an order of play in terms of what we're going to see, we are pretty much going to run through the draw. So we are going to, after this match, we're moving on to quarter-final 1. We don't know what it will be yet, as it's still 5-4 and 4-3 respectively. Chris Day over Tom Cousins and John Rowe over Neil Rapone. But we will see that match next. So they won't have much time in between. It also means they've been playing quite a long time for those frames. They went. The match is starting at 9 o'clock, so they've been playing 75 minutes now for 9 frames and 7 frames. It's quite a long time.
Scott Gillespie chooses yellows, but a little bit short with his first shot. Just trying to plop that in and bring the cue ball up for the yellow that's nearest to the cue ball, but I think he's blocked by those 2 reds.
Important visit here for Scott. Made the mistake in frame 1, missing that double. Just probably more that he didn't land on it nicely, but he would have expected to make that clearance. As tricky as it was, especially for an opening frame, you won't want to let another chance of the similar level get away here. So important that he knuckles down and gets this one, because they are all there, but they're there if you get the nice order and a nice pattern. He's short again.
Yeah, you want to be on the yellow at the top, that's for sure.
Yeah, this isn't going to be easy now. Do you open up the 8 ball here just to make it easier? If the yellow at the top has to become your last ball, is it worth risking? Because if you try, you want to be on the yellow at the bottom, then the one on the top, and then have the 8 ball open. Maybe.
You have a natural angle. What you don't want to do is bump straight into the 8 and knock it towards that red, but if you can just get the red away from the 8, I'd like that.
Well, he's decided not to. He may have gone a turn too far this time. He wanted to be straighter so he could screw right back down. I think the plan was to get somewhere near the bottom cushion on this yellow bottom right as a last ball.
Yeah, I think he's got a very tiny angle there, which he doesn't want.
Yeah, he's got a problem here.
You don't borrow pockets now either.
No, you can't. I think the players are finding that out at their cost.
So like you said, Simon, this has now become quite tricky. That's a brilliant shot. Absolutely brilliant. Oh,
there's no room, was there?
I thought that was all the way down the table. I thought that is absolutely plumb on behind that yellow. It's just got an extra couple of rolls. The accuracy to come through there was great.
Actually, on replays, he just flicked the red on the way
I
through.
just saw that. He played to flick the red.
Yeah, needed
it's an
it.
Obvious shot.
But that went wrong, not on that shot, not on the shot before. It went wrong 2 shots before that. It was when he was just playing the simple ball to come across the table, where he wanted to get on that one at the top of the table, to then get on the one in the middle, to then get on the one at the bottom and play it in that order. And being short by, well, probably 3-4 inches has cost him the chance of finishing here.
Well, he had no option but to play that shot there, Scott Gillespie, leaving Cole in the jaws of the pocket. The other thing now with the new Rasslon Apollo is the backs of the pockets. They used to have the rubber really protruding up in the air.
That shot would be horrible to cue, wouldn't it?
Oh, hated it. Hated it because you could never get your hand quite comfortable. It's elevated your cue up where you don't want it.
Digging right down on it. Yeah, now you're cueing. I mean, it's still a horribly tough shot, but at least you can cue it smoothly as though it's just off the cushion. Yeah,
I was speaking to one or two of the women players last night where they were just standing on the bylines watching the women's pro event, and all of them were saying, "Oh, we're just so glad I got rid of that rubber around the back of the pockets." Mine was the strip on the table between cushion and surround because it's a nightmare.
Especially, I imagine all cue makers were cringing every time they saw a player cueing off the cushion.
Here's one for you. Neil Raybone told me the day before yesterday, he said he had to go and have his cue repaired after so long on his break shot because he has his cue flat to the table.
Exactly the same way round every time. Yeah.
He said, and also because he holds it exactly the same place as she said, he was starting to he was getting a little dentation on his cue.
Yeah,
it's mental, isn't it? Well, is Cole Bedford going to punish Scott Gillespie again?
Big story for Cole this week was he came in and essentially felt he was going to be off the tour because obviously most of these players are certainly in Cole's ranking. There is the number 1 player who has no such issues of what I'm going to be talking about right now with Cole Bedford, but was thinking he needs sponsorship, he needs support to be able to play on the tour, and he didn't quite have the results he needed, and I think the sponsors were basically saying, look, if you don't make a semi-final, we're going to pull the plug, and you're not going to be on the tour next year. And so he was under a lot of pressure, and he's made a semi-final now. So
yeah, and I think they rang him up and said, right now, if you don't make the final with the next one.
But no, great story really for the fact that Cole was under that sort of pressure because he didn't want to finish. He was like, I'm probably going to have to because that's just the nature of it. But yeah.
And it would be such a great shame because he's such a talent, and also because he is pure box office when he's at the table, not just like you said, not just for his pool. I mean, his pool's fantastic, and he's an exciting player to watch. But it's just his all-round demeanour and presence in the arena is brilliant.
It is, and he's now just had a good look. He's played for this in the bottom corner, and now he's not sure if it goes.
Flies in.
It does go. It's fine, Cole. There was a good sign of that cue action where he sort of cues up on the right-hand side and then cues back straight on the backswing. But Scott's confidence is back now, and I think it means you can win matches when you're not quite at it, and I think that's where he is right now, is that he hasn't started yet this morning yet. Instead of sitting there thinking, oh, here we go again, he'll be thinking, okay, that's fine. I need 7 chances here, be patient.
Yeah, a lot like, let's say, the old Liverpool football team back in the 70s, 80s with the old rules. Then they weren't playing particularly well 1-0, shut your opponent out, shut the door. We'll just take the 1-0. We don't need to be flamboyant, running around the place. We'll just take the 3 points because they're professional about it, and that's what champions do.
It's finding a way, isn't it? Finding a way to get the result.
Harder at these rules, though, if we're just using the pool description.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I think myself and Mark Shepard were on comms earlier this week, and we was talking just about that sort of thing. And I said, when it was the older rules, a lot of the players where they could adopt a very, very negative safety game. They weren't playing very well. Right, I'm going to sit there, cover bags, stop my opponent playing completely. Nowhere to run and hide so much of this.
Yeah, that's it.
That's been taken away from them. So you're very exposed if you're not playing very well.
Yeah, that is true. It is true. I still think that, I agree with you, and certainly compared to the rule set that you played back in your heyday, Tony, but I still don't believe the players have yet fully explored all the tactical options that are that they can employ in these rule sets. I think they all now believe it is, I've got to go at all costs. I do think that there are times you can pull back, there are times you can be more tactical. I don't think it is as severe as you're saying, but it is certainly dramatically different to it was back in your heyday.
Well, one of the big things is there's no value in completely covering a pocket anymore.
None whatsoever.
You're going to get the loss of turn played on you. You're going to end up stuck in the jaws of the pocket where you left your ball playing from a completely alien position that you don't want to be.
But there are times when, so the old thinking of covering a pocket was you're going to take that pocket blocking other players' balls. Now they'll come along and put their ball on top of yours, but let's say that you've got 2 balls in that area and they've got 1. You take the pocket and you're thinking, well, they're going to play the loss of turn back, and then so you can almost think chess and think 3-4 moves ahead and think, well, how many times blocking the pocket might be, I missed from Cole here, might open up. It might be then countered by the loss of turn from them, but then if you've got the numbers advantage in that area, then you'll eventually win out. So I think players turn it down because they think, well, if I put it there, they'll play a loss of turn. Well, that might be what you want them to do.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I think that players haven't fully explored, to the extent of what they can do tactically.
Yeah. No, I agree totally. You've got to look at this now, and you've got to be able to predict what your opponent's going to do for several shots ahead of the frame. I'm going to play loss of turn. He's going to do that to me. I'm then going to do that to him. Yeah. He'll do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I should win at the end of it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I know that you always played a very attacking brand of pool, but when old rules became world rules, were players a lot more attacking then, and then started to understand the tactical side of things? Did it start out more attacking than it became?
It did. I mean, the old rules when I first started playing was, well, I mean, you can have matches like best of 5s that go on for 2 hours. I mean, it's ridiculous because you'd have certain players. Well, most players. I'm not going to name all the players from back in the day, but they just tap the pack from the break. So it's only needed 2 balls to hit a cushion. They basically break them off and try and knock them back into a triangle shape again. Yeah. So you had this. There was this unwritten rule amongst all the what we call the fudgers that they would play and play and play, and the first one to pot a ball was in trouble.
Yeah.
So nobody's potting the ball. So my philosophy to that, and also probably another player called Tommy Donlan, we were the only 2 pretty much, and there wasn't very many. So somebody tapped the pack with me, I'd smash them all around the table. They just looked at me like I was from outer space. I mean, the amount of times I did, I'd pot 3 balls and then clear up, and said, that's not pool. I mean, they complained on the sidelines. I had players actually asking a referee if that was allowed.
That's crazy.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously it developed. The world rules then came about with the WEPF that was formed, and then it did start to become more attacking. And all of a sudden, like, I'm now not the only person going game. There's other people, but now it's just everybody's going game basically now.
That is it. Yeah. Well, this is a big shot here for Scott. He's worked well here to get this into this position. He's actually plumb on this, but it's still delicate. A lot harder than it looks on screen. And it goes though. The pockets have been tightened up. The middles still play relatively generous out there, certainly compared to the corners. But
I think they're slightly more generous in the middles, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but that still wasn't an easy drop in. No. So easy to clip a jaw there.
We were all stood on the sideline laughing. Yeah. It wasn't funny for the person that lost.
No, it wasn't. But it just shows you. I mean,
it was Alan Mitchell, by the way.
Yeah. You had to get that in there. Oh, what a break! What a break from Scott Gillespie here.
Alan Mitchell and Alistair Bailey. That was that match. And that was about 1996, 5 or 6. Pontins Pro-Am at Southport. There you go.
I should point out as well, I've said this many times on commentary before, that obviously in this new era we want these more attacking games. We want players to go for it. We don't want matches lasting a long time. Hence we have the match clock now. But absolutely nothing wrong. If you really enjoy playing that style of pool, then there'll still be tournaments out there. Go and play it, and it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just from a broadcast perspective, this is the new world, I think, and quite rightly.
Yeah, some of those events, so they were bizarre. I remember that week as well. I got in trouble for an altercation with Captain Croc, which was a person dressed as a big fluffy crocodile that actually came past when I was playing and got in my way, sort of thing. And it's a true story.
I'm assuming they weren't there for the tournament. It wasn't one of the players.
The kids entertainers. So, yeah. But there's another one.
Scott's got a good chance off his break, quite rightly. It was a fabulous break. Pretty good shape. It just has to play the one position or shot pretty well when he comes across the table, but in truth he's got a massive margin of error. Well, just about. He's hampered queuing. It's this shot here, there's one I was talking about. He just needs to come across and get near the straight on the red by the yellow. He has got just a turn of angle. Actually, if the yellow wasn't there, it'd be perfect. And that is perfection there.
Well, Scott Gillespie now has suddenly arrived in this match after a very slow start.
I think he thought he was going to be short. I mean, he is a touch short, but when he hit that, I think he wasn't sure he was quite going to get there. He's okay. I mean, obviously he's taking a little extra second just to find the angle was a touch thinner than he wanted.
The tables will change a little bit now because they've had three and a bit days play on them, so they will. I think they'll tighten a little bit, and also I think the speed will drop slightly. And that's maybe why a couple of them have just been like a half a ball's length short here and there.
It's just finding it out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good finish though. Great clearance from Scott Gillespie. Callum Singleton 6-5 in front of Dom Cooney. The winner of that will play Sean Sheffield, who has beaten Jordan Shepherd, and that will be our second quarter-final as Chaos Cole flies in off on the break. And now we see his animation.
Well, he's abandoned that cut break that he deployed in event 7, and now, which is just straight off in the corner, all his own fault. And the yellows look very inviting for Scott Gillespie. And the Scotsman now getting plenty of table time.
Yeah, dealt with a couple of early moments. And to be fair, without being, obviously we're here to be critical and to analyse what's going on out there. The two chances he went wrong with neither of them were easy chances. They weren't sort of. You almost want to get a slightly easier chance than that to get going in the match. And then if he was already 1-0, 2-0 up, we'd have expected him to make those, and would be more critical. But for first chances, they were both very, 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 very tricky layouts.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's very kind of you to say so.
It's not often, but I have to just applaud you when you are.
Oh, we have some fun here, don't we?
You can't beat it, Simon.
Yeah, got to keep us sane in the commentary box somehow. Long weekends, but very enjoyable.
Well, it's been some great pull, that's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Seen Craig Waddingham land his first one of the season, or when was the last time Craig won one?
Last season, won the Champions League.
That's right.
That was his first Pro Series title, and he sort of hinted at it being a little bit of a monkey on his back. I don't really think it is. The Champions League's a major tournament, very different style, of course, but I think a lot of players put a lot of weight on the tournaments that are at the venues rather than, obviously the Champions League's played at the club, as are some of the other tournaments that we have, but the ones at the venue where everyone's there and you big staging and you've got your challengers and your women's series as well. I think there is players, whether they should or they shouldn't, just elevate that a little bit in their mind.
Yes, the prestige, I think, of being out in a bigger arena with a crowd, etc. You know, it puts a little more on it. You know, it gives you a bigger buzz.
Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, in terms of ranking points, in terms of prize money, it's not. I mean, he would have won the same for the Champions League as he would have won last night. But yeah, well, Scott's too thin here. This is a problem. Oh, he used it. He had to pinch the pocket there. He didn't want to. You saw the grimace. He really didn't want to pinch the pocket, but he has.
Well, it helps with all the right hand side because it just transfers to the ball and just helps it slide in off that knuckle.
Tricky 8-ball though. Dispatched. 3 straight here for Scott Gillespie. He has found his rhythm. He is very much up and running, and because of that, Cole Bedford's going to leave the arena to go and reset.
Yeah, he won't be happy, Cole, with the gift. I think he played a few loose shots here and there, and I think he'd let it get to him a little bit. I do, which is very rare.
But he just struggled to find the pace of the table, and obviously cushions is part of that.
I think when Chris has played on these another couple of times, I think you'll see him back to his top gear and his very best. But yeah, he is probably one of the worst weekends that I've certainly seen him have. Because normally he'll have a bad one. Say event 7, he had a bad one. Well, all of a sudden he'll go deep and maybe win event 8. Is what he normally bounces back after a bad one. But he's had 2 bad ones.
Yeah, back to back last 32s from second round twice for Chris, but he will be back. There's no doubt about that. He's too good. He is absolutely one of the elite and has been for a couple of decades now. Scott Gillespie in with another opportunity. This is slightly tricky if that yellow is now stuck to the red and doesn't pass to the top left.
Probably didn't help Chris. He went out with me into the town one night.
It's your fault. To be fair to Chris, he does that though. He does. He's not. Yes, it's. That's his normal MO.
Another strange one, Sheppy. Disaster of the first event. He's obviously just come back from the States and he's victorious out there. But then comes back into the event yesterday and then he came out here and it was unbelievable. And then he's been walloped 7-1 this morning. But
I think he's struggling. I think he's struggling a little bit, and top players can have this when they're not on the main feature table. Because Ultimate Pool have obviously for a period we had three main arenas and the staging was big. I think he's really struggling when he's not on the main table. I think it'd be interesting to look back and how many times has he
He's a bit of a peacock.
Yeah, how many times has he lost when he's not been on the main table? I bet his win ratio is significantly higher on the main feature table than it is when he's on the other arenas.
My nightmares of going to the events, I mean, obviously not all of them were televised, but there are certain tables that are right in the middle of all the crowd with a lot of atmosphere, and then you've got one right in the far corner where nobody walks down there because it's just too far to get to anywhere. So you're on your own. It's just you and your opponent. I could never win a match on them. No. They were a nightmare.
Well, first mistake from Scott Gillespie for a little while. It was a delicate drop in. He dragged it in, and the cue ball's just welded itself to the red, and he has no shot.
Unpleasant looking. That's for sure. He's going to play it off the rail, try and kick this yellow back into the middle.
He's going to turn the table over, and you could see how frustrated he was there.
It's a bit jabby with that one.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to snap his cue.
Yeah.
Walking away.
I admire these players because a lot of them, they do keep their emotions in check when they've lost their heads. I'd struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, he certainly was very frustrated with that. I mean, he just found a rhythm, didn't he? And done 3 straight. That was for 4 straight. He's allowed Cole back in here. Probably knows that was a big moment.
when I was playing, there's a lot more, how can you say, sort of John McEnroe-esque sort of antics in the arenas. Not an awful lot, but there were 6 or 7 players out there, myself included.
You'd have to say right now, Carl Morris is probably the most John McEnroe-esque player that we have.
And he comes from my era.
Yeah,
he's a little bit younger, but he's. And then the only other one I can think of is Phil Harrison, but he's completely the polar opposite.
Yeah. Well, Cole has flown through these as expected. He needed this visit. Three. 21 minutes to go. Callum Singleton has come from behind to beat Dom Cooney 7 frames to 6.
Oof, what a game that was.
Yeah. Oh, Cole.
Same pocket.
Yeah, he's dangerously close. Eventually gets kicked in off, and his turn to throw his cue around the room. Just finish off, so Callum Singleton will play Sean Chipperfield in the quarterfinals. That will be our second quarterfinal on.
Yeah, good for Callum. He's been sort of in the backgrounds a little bit. He's had some tough draws. I remember when he came out on the TV, he's either had Chris Melling or he's had a Tom Cousins or something like that, and he's not played particularly badly. They've played very well, and he's been on the end of a couple of those sort of defeats. Yeah,
and a player that's been to a Pro Series final, it's just you got to go through spells where it's not happening and stay positive. Maybe
and
it's
then Dom Cooney.
Time. Yeah.
Dom's like he seems to be getting closer and closer to sort of breaking through into the semis. Because I know he's been there.
Yeah, he's won one before, but he's close to getting. Hasn't been there for a while. I mean, he's been knocking on the door quarters and semis, but yet to get back into another final.
John McAllister had a quiet week.
Very quiet weekend for John. Yeah,
I know. The reason I said that because I know Dom Cooney knocked him out.
Yes,
it sort of just triggered a memory point.
But it just shows you the volatility. I mean, John's been one of the players of the year. 2 titles he's had this year, and he's been dispatched first round twice. It's just tough.
Did you say Callum's playing Sean Chipperfield, is he?
Sean Chipperfield, yeah, second quarterfinal.
Chippy's all or nothing, isn't he?
Yeah, I love watching Chippy play.
I do as well.
He's a fabulous player, but it's entertaining to watch.
Nicely done there by Scott. Tiny bit of angle there, so you can just. I think you just roll this, and you want to be nearly straight, just not quite. You don't want to leave yourself any sort of acute angle, that's for sure, to play into the middle after this ball. Yeah, pretty nicely done there from Gillespie.
Always such an important visit after a mistake. After, you saw Scott visibly frustrated walking away from the table after his last error, and the next visit to the table's very important.
He's not happy with that. Gone a little bit hard. He wanted to leave this dead straight, and this is down to these pockets now being totally different.
Oh, he's also giving us the indication this is tight, so you absolutely wanted to be right behind it.
You can go near draw with these if you're trying to avoid the yellow. But he's played it absolutely bang on. Middle of the bag for Scott Gillespie.
Yeah. Crisis averted. Have a
That's a relief smile, that is.
Yeah, a little look over at Cole as well. Obviously the match clock keeps you in check, but we don't have many matches use the match clock anymore in the Pro Series. I mean, how many games this weekend haven't completed with the score? I think 1. Well, we had a 6-2, so we had 1 in a 6-red shootout with Scott Gillespie and Aaron Davies.
Carl Morris had 1.
Yeah. So but with very low percentage.
Yeah, we are.
There might have been one other. I know Carl did, and I know there was a 6
I think
red.
there's 2, and there's a 6 red
Yeah.
shootout we did.
But it just shows that, you know, when you stick a match out onto the, you know, without those conditions, it can slow up. For player can take as long as they like. They can, you know, obviously you end up with a little bit more time between frames at times as well.
Should be okay there for Scott. He needs to get the cue ball over a little way towards that yellow that's on the left-hand rail, which he should be playing after this yellow he puts into the top left-hand corner. Obviously then the one at the top, and there he has a yellow at the bottom, which will be his connected to the black ball.
Keeps leaving himself quite on the cushion and
Yeah.
leaving himself quite straight in on shots, leaving kind of then making life awkward for himself.
Well, his next shot after this one up the rail, I mean, presuming he pots it, is going to be a tricky one. He's even thinking about dropping it in dead weight and leaving himself to play through the gaps. You know, normally you think, well, I'll come round off these two rails and come past the middle bag.
And that's the difference between being, I mean, he was the left-hand side of the red there. If he's the right-hand side of the red, he can drop it in, get the cue ball out anywhere he likes to give the angle he wants to come down the table through the gap. Now he's obviously going to have to find the gap here, find the pot, and put the cue ball with it as well.
Yeah, because if you smash this because you're playing topspin onto the ball because you're cushed up, it will kill the cue ball, and you'd end up quite possibly behind those 2 reds. So he's took the option to think, right, I'm definitely going to leave myself a shot at the yellow, whatever, which is the right thing to do. And yes, he's further away than he'd have liked from the yellow, but you expect him to knock this in. And it all depends. And then you see, I was about to say, it all depends on the angle whether he screws back or goes forward.
He's short again.
He just dug down a bit on it. It was like a forced drag, if you like the way I done it. It's hard to describe a shot he played.
The natural, wasn't it, coming off the bottom cushion into the 8 ball was the problem. So had to widen it. Now he's got a tough one to play here.
Yeah, skinny one. He's got it. Cue ball's fine.
Very good. That's 2 very good 8 balls on the trot he's had to make.
Yeah, it made that one look very easy as well, didn't he? What have we got? Not a lot.
You know, keeps the cue ball on the table, but keeps everything else on the table.
Oops, I heard a clatter of something there.
Sounded like cue on
Metal.
Cue on metal. Yeah. There it is. Oh, throws it onto the metal, that's why. Cue makers, watch your way. Don't keep your eye on that one.
Is Lewis Roberts still here anywhere?
Yeah, Lewis isn't here, thankfully. Eh? When he won his quarter-final, I think he broke his finger. He punched the railing so hard. I was interviewing him, so I think I've broken my finger.
You know, I had to be stopped once at a little island called Liembier off Marseille and throwing my cue into a marina. That was in after the semi-finals of European Championships, which I'd lost to Mick Hill. After having, this is the old rules, here you are for you, this is a killer. 2 visits, 4 yellows in the middle of the table and the black. Nothing to do. This is at 7 each. Pot them all, straight black into the corner, pot it, come straight back out the pocket without hitting a rail, foul 2 visits. Oh. Yeah. Police were talking me off the building for half an hour. I was, ugh.
So
a killer.
You got a foul for a bounce out
because he didn't hit a cushion.
Oh, that's harsh. I've never seen that before.
And
I've never ever seen that before.
The black's literally on the spot. Cue ball near the middle. It's dead straight. You can't miss it. I could have borrowed somebody's, I don't know, false leg and hit it in there with it, or whatever.
But surely it's hit the back of the pocket.
I don't know, but stop calling me Shirley. But no, it's
no, but I mean, as in, it can't be a foul. It can't be a foul. Oh my word!
It's not a cushion.
I
did have this discussion.
Yeah.
Let's just say, It wasn't quite quietly with the referee at the time, but
I'm going to make a note to go and speak to our head referee Scott Price and find out if that's still a foul. That's incredibly harsh. That's as bad as it gets.
yeah.
Yeah. So that cue was done then.
Well, no, I did get stopped by a couple of players. I said, but I might be the boat owner as well. That it was about to be launched towards, but.
Oh, is he on anything? Can get through cushion first to the one at the bottom. May have to play that, and not sure this red he's nearest to goes anywhere.
The worst thing about the European Championships then, especially because it was in France, they make you play a third, fourth playoff.
Oh, I'm sure you wanted to do that.
Oh no, I didn't. No, and that was against Jason Twist, the late great Jason, of course. Sorely missed by everyone throughout the pool world, I must say. One of the greats of the game, taken far too young.
You played in his Memorial tournament recently, didn't you?
I would have, but then I had a family issue which I had to attend to, which
but it's still well attended and good event.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I thought he was in trouble there, but he could just get through. He's not been the cleanest and clinical of performances this from Scott Gillespie. He feels like he's run into trouble on every visit, and he's been able to deal with it most of the time. He's had a couple just get away, but it's not been clean and clinical and simple. But he's still winning, and he's still winning by 6 frames to 3. Oh, do we have a bounce out? Is that the first one? I haven't seen one this week. We'll have to see that again on the replay. It sounded like it, but it may have just been jaw and out. No, it wasn't. It was jaws. It was jaws.
It was. I think we need a bigger boat.
Yeah. The only reason I reference it like that is that obviously, we don't know whether that's going to be a factor. Obviously, that was one of the big issues on the previous table. We had, way too many of those, and we hope that this table has solved that issue. Obviously, there's no guarantees until we see a serious amount of action on it, but that certainly wasn't. That was
it's inevitable.
Jaws.
Something's going to bounce out somewhere because it's just the laws of physics. Not everything at every speed can go in to a pocket, especially with the spin involved as well. If there's a spin, and you can only see it on the cue ball, you can't see it on the object balls.
Especially,
you could, but
especially in a deciding frame against Mick Hill in the European Championships, something's going to bounce out.
I shouldn't even mentioned it.
Good chances for Colt. Get going once again. And that's an excellent shot. That really is. He's done well here.
Yep.
Needed this.
Well, he's still in it. Over 8 minutes left still. He's going to need a little favour from Scott Gillespie, break-wise, I think. But that was a must-win frame there for Cole Bedford.
He will be almost immediately on. Tom Cousins is waiting. And as soon as this match is finished, we will be straight on with our first quarter-final, Tom Cousins and Neil Raybone. This one might have some more mileage in it yet, though. Cole Bedford with another opportunity.
Well, he's finally made a ball and kept the cue ball on the table off his break.
He's the only player in the game that we get reaction cam for. Rather disappointing nothing from him there.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, he gets away with that one. You can see he cues up on the right-hand side of the ball. That's how he cues, and then straightens up on the way through. But actually cued across that one. If he doesn't quite time it right, that can happen, and he nearly paid the price.
And he was up body swerving it in as well.
Oh, the recovery, though, is fabulous.
That's a brilliant shot. Amazing, like, because he's a left-hander and he has his chalk in his right pocket, so he has to swap cue hand to get the chalk out. I don't know why I'm watching that, but it's just a, you know, it's a
strange mannerism.
Yeah. Yeah, so he has to put his cue out of his holder that when he gets on the table, he's got it in his right hand, chucks it his left hand, gets his chalk out, he has to swipe it over again.
If he was to win the match, maybe that's what I need to say on interview. Why have you chalk in that pocket?
Yeah.
Is he on the red, though? Easy on the red.
I don't think he is, you know.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
that was crazy.
That's something from...
Watch the cue ball here. Bang, bang. Jeez.
That's brilliant.
And that will be, or should be, Cole Bedford's last shot here in Blackpool this week. He's already got his cue in his hand. He's already ready to walk out the arena. Scott Gillespie has a wide open chance here just to mop up, get the job done.
If he ever has his own TV show, that should be in the opening titles, that shot there, right there. But this is going to be another win for Scott Gillespie.
He's going to add a quarter-final to his semi-final from event 7. What a great run of form he's on. Champion at the European Open.
He's gathering lots of ranking points as well along the way.
And he was a runner-up earlier this year in the British Open as well. Having a fantastic year.
Just 2 balls away. From a place in the quarter-final. The man from Scotland plays that perfectly, and now the simple 8-ball for Scott Gillespie.
Job done for Scott Gillespie. He had to put together some very good finishes and some very tricky 8-balls, but the Scotsman gets the job done. Gillespie is into the last 8, into the quarterfinals. Another run is on the way here. Going to hear from him after the break, and then we will move on to the quarterfinals. Tom Cousins will take on Neil Raybone, who will not have much time and will be out there with the action. Stay with us, plenty more to come today.